From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, February 16th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.15 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,194 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $403. Antiwar.com reports they won't say why, but the Israeli military invaded a West Bank refugee camp on Monday, fairly quickly attacking a bunch of Palestinian protesters in an incident that left 28 protesters shot and one Israeli soldier wounded from being hit with a rock. Officials refused to comment on the raid itself, but said they ordered the rioters to disperse and that the military shot the main instigators when they continued to demonstrate. They also claimed the Palestinians were throwing explosives, though AFP reporters who were present did not witness any such thing. Palestinian sources say they believe the Israeli troops were there to arrest a member of the Fatah party, but that he managed to escape. The camp is home to about 15,000 Palestinian refugees. After about 3 hours, the troops left, mostly through a nearby settlement. Health officials say the troops were initially using rubber bullets, as would be in keeping with Israeli crowd control tactics, but very quickly switched to live ammunition. Despite 28 people being shot, none were believed to be mortally wounded. The Daily Decrypt is a Monday through Friday newscast about all the best news in cryptocurrencies and peer-to-peer networks. Know what's hot in the world of digital money, borderless trade, and cutting-edge communications. Available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Facebook video. The Daily Decrypt is the news of the future. UPI reports a Gallup poll released Monday indicates the number of Americans who regard the United States military as the world's strongest declined from 59% last year to 49%. Asked if the United States is the strongest in the world militarily, 49% of respondents said yes, and an identical number said no. The positive reading is the lowest in 23 years that Gallup has asked the question. A separate question asked of 1,021 random adults during the first week of February asked if it is important that the U.S. military be the strongest in the world. 67% of respondents said it is important, a small decline from 68% in 2015. The number of those who believe the country should spend more on defense increased, while the number of those who advocate less spending or that the current spending is appropriate both decreased. In the survey, 37% of respondents said the United States spent too little on defense, 32% believed it spent too much, and 27% said the spending level was about right. A statement from Gallup said the 10-point drop in the percentage of Americans who believe the U.S. is the number one military power in the world may reflect worries about international terrorism. It may also reflect the discussion of the military and defense in the current presidential election campaign. The survey was conducted of adults 18 and older living in all 50 U.S. states and the District of Columbia. The margin of sampling error is plus or minus 4 percentage points. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the U.S. government has granted an Alabama company permission to build tractors in Cuba, according to one of the company's co-owners, making it potentially the first American manufacturer to open shop in Cuba since the 1959 revolution. Co-owners Horace Clemens and Cuban-born Saul Barenthal plan to self-finance between $5 to $10 million for a factory at the Cuban port of Mariel, just west of Havana, to build small tractors for sale to private farmers and builders in Cuba. The U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control informed the pair last week that they were cleared to do business under new regulations issued by the administration of President Barack Obama that expand commerce with Cuba. The United States and Cuba restored diplomatic relations last year after a 54-year break, but the U.S. trade embargo remains in place. Obama has asked the U.S. Congress to lift the Cold War-era sanctions against Cuba's communist government, but the Republican majority in Congress has resisted. Instead, Obama has used executive authority to promote trade in ways he says will benefit the Cuban people. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.